welcomes, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's European Infantry Cup match of the 45th N versus the Samson Y. Tonight I'm joined by my fellow referee and co-host Unicorn of the 92nd. Uni, good evening.
Hello, it's good to be back. Last time comments were made that I sounded like a prisoner, so
Aye.
I have to match your energy apparently.
Oh, get it going, man. And straight away, as we are starting to
Whoa,
introduction.
what a shot by
Oh
Hank!
my
Grant
friend!
goes down!
Brilliant fucking shot. No fucking equal to that. Absolutely
Whoa,
smashing.
Massman with the reverse.
Massive. Oh god, it's going all over the place again. Well, anyways, tonight's match of the Samson Y versus the 45th N is going to be really, well, I have to say, like a strong matchup in terms of both regiments. Samson Y being led by Gaz at the moment, and Henke probably at the back. Is a very strong in terms of leadership. Gaz has been playing this game for ages, and is considered to be one of the best in-game leaders in terms of his tactics and such. Versus the 45th M, which are being led by Marsman and Mitchell themselves. Samson Y is moving in, and the 45th N is firing a lot of shots at the moment from the first half of their line already, but haven't really managed to hit anything. And Samson Y is just now lining up and trying to retaliate with a few shots into the comms, and now getting the hits in, and immediately go into the reverse. As sadly, Marsman is getting shot, which shouldn't happen as oversame is not permitted. Now the lines have been formed up, and the 45th End is really taking the underhand here in terms of like shooting kills. It's a really big match, 28 v 28, but just the sheer amount of firepower that the Samson Y has portrayed so far has granted them a two-man advantage. As the last few reloads of the Samson Y are getting in, the 45th End already reformed on top of the hill and are shooting down as Jelja, Albi, and So National go down. Three brilliant shots there, swinging the balance of power back into the favor of the 45th N. But Gas immediately lining up is retaliating with volley, but he saw that they had to break the reloads, so Gas is probably going to play a lot more aggressive now. Who do you favor for tonight, Uni, if you have any favorites?
I think it's going to be really close, but the 77Y should take this.
Yeah, I
Not
agree.
not in any disrespect to 40%. 77Y are one of the strongest regiments in 1v1s, I think.
Yeah,
They
agreed.
will. They will take it.
Yeah. The only thing that I have to say now, what Gas is really not doing well, and he's only reforming so late, is that he has given like, what the fuck is going on with the Samson Y? Right, so I have to step in there as well, because Samson Y did something which is absolutely not allowed, firing from two separate lines. I think there was a communication problem there, and the Samson Y just gave away the advantage that they had in the first half. But I have to agree with you, Unicorn. I think the upper hand probably is in favor of the Samson Y, if they don't do anything weird like they just did there, where they, for some reason, aligned themselves in a perfect angle for the 45th M to shoot them. Really well played from Marsman, I have to say. He saw that Samson Y wasn't moving and just stationed his line in an opposite angle where he could hit as many shots as he wants. And it really is to show that, Samson Y only got a few kills in, and 45th Dan just absolutely destroyed the Samson Y, having
I
absolute...
think this round is definitely a 40% round.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it anymore. At the beginning of the round, I was saying, it could go either way, but with Gas not, maneuvering his line out of to a different direction, completely ruined that. Oh well. As the first round comes to an end in the first half, it is a win for the 45th N, taking 1 point off the Samson Y here. And really, Marsman played that really well, kept it patient, watched for a mistake on the Samson Y, and yeah, immediately,
And just capitalised when they made it.
yeah. And with a devastating volley, props to the 45th N members that hit their shots, because, it's getting the angle is one thing, but then also taking the time aiming and hitting your shots properly, it's just a massive thing. As the 45th N is now immediately lining up again and firing a volley at the Samson Y, grabbing one kill on hit, and unfortunate there. Samson Y is now forming on top of the hill, trying to retaliate with volleying back at them, but the 45th N immediately goes down the hill, taking cover, where the Samson Y is not able to see them anymore. 45th N is really now trying to head glitch, and brilliant shot there from Mitchell, taking out Ricky Maru. One of the oldest NW players still playing to date. I have to say, very unfortunate for Ricky. He doesn't like to get shot because he's a very melee-focused type of player. But yeah, 45th N is utilizing the hill on their side really well. Reforming again, immediately started shooting. But boy is DCing, which brings the balance back to only 1 up by the 45th N, as they fire quite a lot of shots, and the 77Y is now forming the line as they fire into the backs, but nothing really happening over there. 77Y now throwing in the reverse and trying to get an angle, hold the line, and they start shooting again. And grabbing 2 kills there, brilliantly shot there from Este and Fortune, taking down Sticky and Yana, 2 strong players of the 45th N.
Two of their better meleeers. It's
Yeah, definitely.
trying to, try to even it out when they come to melee. That if you
Yeah.
hit their bigger players, but still, I don't know.
Oh, definitely.
45th N have got quite a lot of strong melee players.
Oh yeah, definitely. 45th N has is bolstering a good amount of strong NW players from the new generations and the old generations, I have to say. The only thing is now is, you need to get those men into melee. And Guess is well capable of keeping the 45th N at distance. I have to say the 45th N is playing really aggressively the game of fire and maneuver, but look at the clumps they are making in the center. Those are just juicy targets for the 77Y to aim at. But the 77Y now at the front doesn't have any shots and need to get the reloads in. Marsman is now moving into the angle of the 77Y and is doing so now. A massive volley is being fired from the 77Y and they're going for melee. Not too many shots are in on the 45th N side, so they have to fall back. A massive advantage of at least 6 men in the melee is going to probably ensue, as the 45th N is not capable to disengage. They're going to try to reform on Mitchell with perhaps any shots that they have, but sadly they have none. And the melee is now open. The 45th N is very heavy on the left flank of the 77Y in terms of numbers, but look at the red. Immediately, so many kills are being made by the 77Y in the melee.
4 packs to the 45th N won. And then
the 45th N line is pretty much in the open, but some of the more veteran players of the 45th N are trying to make a valiant last stand here against the 77Y, but the balance is very much in favor of the 77Y here, who can just take their time and going for the backstabs and surround them from all sides, as they have so many 2v1s and 3v1s going. They are outnumbering the 45th N in a 2-to-1 advantage, which really puts them in a precarious situation where they have to try to stick together, but, and try to pick off the 77Y members who aren't with the big group, but they're so well consolidated at the moment that there really isn't any picks they can make on any small groups of the 77Y. 77Y is just simply not taking any risk and are putting up an extremely good fight, as Hankert is taking down Jofko, and Snickle's going and Darky going down. The only one left alive there was Saitama for a second, but he also went down there. And look at the attendance, Uni, as the round comes to an end, and it's now 1-1 for both regiments. Just look
29.
at
29
v29.
aside.
Yeah, that's massive attendance. That's been like ages since we saw that. 77Y is like bolstering men not only from the line company, but also from their lights and artillery. It's just a combined effort that's being shown here by the 77Y. But you have to keep in mind, I know many of these players from the 77Y, and they have been playing for such a long time. They have just an amazing synergy and are just so competent and well led that they are more than capable of defeating the 45th N here in the field. But the 45th N has the advantage of being, the newer generation type of players, but ooh, boy, oh boy.
3 headshots.
Yeah, 3 headshots there from the majority of the 77Y line, which is good, and they already got the reloads in. Marsman is not capable enough to push them immediately away, or not capable, he's capable, but he's not able to push them off the hill and try to get a volley back into the 77Y, who are now already retreating and quite spread out. But a good shot there from Winter on Dario, but the 45th N really needs to be careful because they're firing a lot of their shots as the 77Y is getting closer, and Gas is just gonna go balls deep, reform the line to his left and right. Doesn't matter, he is firing. A big volley is ensuing now on both sides as the 45th N now gets the reloads in. It's a very even firefight. We probably should be watching that not too many people are now creating gaps, and that the gaps are being filled by both regiments respectively. 77Y now has the reloads in and really need to retaliate with a good volley because it's dead even in the water as it is. As we are calling out for the gaps to be filled, it really looks like the firefight is still, in the midst of both sides could potentially still win this.
I mean, there's only a +1 advantage with 77Y.
But they are having the next volley though, and they are hitting a lot of their shots there. There you go. A lot of their shots are being hit, and the 45th N, some of those members, they didn't have any loaded muskets, so they couldn't fire back, but it is just so insanely close. But the 77Y are filling gaps perfectly fine, so the 45th N is just an extremely close firefight, and the 77Y is going to be able to probably take this round home as well. but they need to be able to hit their shots. Those 45th M members, after reloaded, need to completely fill the gaps, and it's fair to say now that the 77Y is in a really good situation where they will definitely win this firefight and take this round home. Only by a miracle can the 45th N pull this back, but I doubt there's gonna be any of those. The 77Y guys really need to like fix their gaps now, like get closer after they're reloaded, because their formation was quite spread there, but Gas is already filling it himself because his members are probably not listening that close to him. Marsman is now going in for the melee, having already 8 kills so far. This match is really well performing tonight, alongside with Tompa. But the 77Y now in melee. Marsman trying to make his last stand against Gas and the 77Y, grabbing 1 kill but getting sliced and diced in the process of it, and ultimately gets taken down as the 77Y takes the 2-1 against the 45th N.
Still a really close match. That round could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, that round could have swung towards the 45th N or towards the 77Y. But really what worked into the favor of the 77Y was hitting those first few shots. They got immediately 3 kills and they already had an advantage in members playing tonight. So that immediately swung into their favor where they will have more shots. They had a little bit of a buffer. Even though if the 45th N would hit a lot of shots, this wouldn't be that detrimental to the 77Y. As the 45th N is now lining up on their side of the hill again and trying to shoot, the 77Y does the same. And this is really now a game of luck where the shooting, at this range is going to be at medium range, so it's a little bit harder to hit. But both sides have now moved away from their hill respectively, not willing to put them any more in the open than they should. As Abe is pointing out that the 77Y can't fucking read. Well, no surprises there, Abe. But if we look at the lineup from both regiments, they're really fielding a strong team tonight, the 77Y, Oh, as Ophian is going down and Hitton is going down, 45th N has hit a really good volley there at the beginning and is now trying to disengage, but 77Y gets a retaliation kill there and takes down Gringo. And are now firing the last few shots as the 45th N is still in the open for the 77Y to be shot at, and Mr. T goes down. That's a heavy loss for the 45th N in terms of melee capability.
Bringing it back. Brings it back to even though.
Yeah. But like if we can quickly review as the battle ensues over here, if we look at the lineup that the 77Y is having here, so they have Henka, they have Gas, they have Kex, they have Ricky Maru, they have Rickers, they have Okra, they're fielding a really, and Spooky there as well, they're fielding a really strong team, which, they can do a lot of damage in the melee, as now both the 45th and the 77Y are forming. The 77Y is hitting a devastating volley, but the muskets on the ground that have just been killed off the teammates of the 45th N are all loaded, so the 45th N could pick up those muskets and start retaliating, but they decide to retreat from the hill, but Gas has the reloads. The 45th N didn't have the reloads in, so now Gas can ripple reform to his left and right and just obliterate them in a quick fucking volley there. 77Y is just taking no chances and is destroying them. It's insane. We kind of shouldn't really revive Gas there because he is in the midst of his line unit though, so,
It does say it's a revive if you're in the middle line, no slay though.
Oh, okay. Well, as the melee ensues now, the 77Y is trying to regroup as they have a pretty decent advantage, but the 45th N are very strong in the melee as well, so they need to be careful not to throw it away. The advantage of a one-man advantage is now in the favor of the 77Y, but the 77Y is really just spread out and is at no place really working together, and is just being picked apart by the 45th N, who are just very dominant in the melee. We saw that as well in the match against the previous regiment that the 45th N faced, which was, let me quickly...
33rd.
Yeah, the 33rd.
That was an overwhelming melee performance.
Yeah, that was an overwhelming melee performance, but it shouldn't be taken for granted that they can't do the same here into the or against the 77Y, especially because 77Y isn't bolstering the strongest competitive lineup. They are performing really well, and they have some strong individuals for the melee. But it really has to come down, which I had a conversation about with Gas last night as well, that they need to have like a good advantage. Even if they're down, Gas even said it himself. He believes that if he even is down, but just 2 or 3 guys before the melee ensues, they are still capable of losing that round simply because the 45th N is fielding such a strong lineup in terms of melee players. But it's now 2-2, and it really shows how close this matchup is. Gas is playing really well, I have to say, but so does the 45th N. They're getting a bit unlucky in the shooting end of it all, but in terms of melee, they're definitely doing it.
Both teams do have like, a really stacked melee lineup.
Yeah, if we look at the 45th M, for example, they are fielding Lone Doge, they're fielding Mac, they're fielding Achilles, they're fielding Janne. They have Mr. T in the midst of them, Eastwind, Nedum, Boboy, and many other players out there in the 45th N. You know, they don't feel any really weak link in their competitive lineup in the European Infantry Cup match. But it's again, it's all about getting these strong players into the melee and then let them do what they do best, and that is just stacking up the kills. Samson Y is lining up as the 45th N, has quite a few clumps, and a few hits are being made on a strong player. That Alberto and Mr. T both go down. No luck so far for Mr. T really getting into that melee. Samson Y wasted a few shots, but nothing too big, as the 45th N now has the back of the Samson Y in range and now taking some shot at it. The Samson Y has to move out now, and the 45th N really is firing really good shots here now, and now immediately moving away again. And the Samson Y needs to get the reloads in because they didn't have any shots at the front. Gas is forcing them to move out, because he believes he has no chance of getting his reload in before the 45th N is able of firing. But the 45th N is now moving out as well. The last few strugglers are getting their reloads in. There's quite a few clumps, but the Simpson Y is not going to take it. They just want to get the reloads in and then try to aim for a better position. But Marsman already have the back of the Simpson Y again, and the volley is being fired into that back as Python and Alf are both getting 2 kills on Fortune Zero and Opian. Again, well competent players of the Simpson Y. Being taken down here in the shooting before they even can go into the melee. They're now down by -3 here in the Samsung Y, and that really doesn't, feel anything good for them because they need to have that advantage before going into the melee. Marsman is moving in close, but he's far ahead of his own line. The Samsung Y is now firing their shots, but Marsman is charging. You know, that was close enough. It wasn't really thick yet because it was a bit of a Rambo charge there on the sides of Marsman. As the Samsung Y and the melee now ensues, as I had to correct Marsman. Marsman is saying, don't worry, yeah, I'm pretty sure they will still take away this round as the melee continues. But the Samsung Y is putting up a good fight. A lot of red represents the kills that the Samsung Y are making in their favor.
Quite a few team kills from the 45th N, and
Yeah, as
it's
the
always costly team killing in this close a melee.
yeah, they really have to be careful. Some of the Samsung Y members, like Ricky, put up a really good fight there. It's now 6 feet 10 as the last few members of the 45th N are just being picked one by one. It's really not good. They need to communicate with each other before going in. But there's somebody coming in on the back of the Samsung Y. Who's that over there? Who's trying to fight Gas? It's S-Hype, who's trying to keep the Samsung Y at range here to get a closer look, but is again getting slashed by Gas's sword. And the round ends, or the first half I should say, ends in a 3-2 in favor of the 7-7Y over there. We even have Bobby Maru. No way. That's kind of funny to see that Bob, an old member of the 7-7Y, is playing now as well again for them. It's really funny to see that all these old faces have shown up in full force to play for their respective regiments. It really shows that this European Infantry Cup match is bringing out the best for each regiment. 30v30, what a massive 1v1 we're having here, Hayani. It's fucking huge.
Did say reset and he chose the team kill, so
Yeah, not our mistake.
he starts with a -1.
Oh well. At the moment, it's a 3-2 to the Samson Y. It is live again. And I will quickly point it out as they're asking. Now, Samson Y has swapped and are now playing on the UK side, where Gas has a little bit of a disadvantage of that the 45th N has the bigger hill opposite towards him, where the 45th N can use that to their advantage. But I don't think 45th N really is going to sit there and just shoot from a ridge down at the Samson Y, only if they really are desperate to get an advantage before going in for melee. But I feel like Marsman played really, really well the previous round, alongside with Mitchell by firing and maneuvering. The only thing that is kind of killing the 45th N line with such a big attendance are the blobs. But yeah, this happens from both sides. You know, people type, people don't are second later with the reverse and stuff like that. So, you know, it won't always work into the advantage. As the Simpson Y is now forming up the line and is taking shots at the 45th N. The 45th N is sitting comfortably now at the top of the ridge on the opposite hill as Sparky DCs.
It's always difficult with a line that size. It's going to naturally create clumps.
Yeah. Samson Y really needs to be careful though, staying out here in the open, shooting at somebody who's that well protected from taking your shots whilst you're taking a full-on punishment. As Ape is getting a kill, but Sink is going down. Depths of the Samson Y. They have one. High Lord. Huh, that's funny. I usually thought that Henker would be at the back, but it seems to be that Major High Lord is leading the men from the back at the Samson Y. Samson Y is now taking position behind the ridge over here and is starting to fire some shots at the 45th N. 45th N forced to break their formation and move behind the hill again. This really is a class act of an event, I have to say. This many Samson Y members, you don't see that often. As we have quite a few spectators as well tonight.
There are, yeah. Specs from people that technically are in that regiment, so could actually play.
Yeah, they could actually play, because the limit is 35 people at max. But perhaps those people joined late and they haven't been added to the roster. That could be very much the reason. The 45th N is now winging out towards the right. I will start to spectate a little bit more from their side, as it seems like they're a little bit more on the move. Marsman is making an aggressive flank towards the SMSMY, who are still sitting quite comfortably at that ridge, and are capable of ditching out one more volley before having to move out. But now ultimately really have to start moving out because Marsman is closing in and he does have an angle advantage on the SMSMY if they're going to remain in that position. Then another reverse happens back onto gas of the Samsung Y, and Marsman is having the back of the Samsung Y, and a brilliant shot is now being fired into the backs, grabbing a few kills, but ultimately Spooky and the Samsung Y are retaliating with a good volley, but only claiming one kill. The Samsung Y wasted a few shots at the front, so Mitchell is in a good position to be able to hold his line before the Samsung Y can and ditch out a good volley. But yeah, it really depends on what's going to happen. Samsung Y is now holding the line. As you can see that the front of the Samsung Y doesn't have any shots apart from gas. This really does put the Samsung Y in a bad position if the 45th N would choose to play aggressively. But the 45th N is now ditching out a volley at distance, which I personally wouldn't have done. It only creates more of a chance for you not to, use that advantage of them not having shots and you do. But it seems like they want to ditch out a few shots at distance, as the 45th N has a good position and takes down 3 of the Samsung Y members. But the Samsung Y in turn grabbing 1 kill back. But it really is in favor of the 45th N, as they grabbed a very strong position at the bottom of the ridge where they were before and managed to grab so many kills that gives them already a 6-man advantage over the Samsung Y. Now all Marsman has to do is just, gas line in a good position, maybe fire that one more volley, get the Samsung Y into melee, and just do what 45th N does always best in these type of events and go for melee. Oh, Samson Y with a massive volley, obliterating the center of the 45th N. Good shots there, well fucking done. But they have to be quick with their reloads. I think they will have time, but Marsman is moving in. Yes, the 45th N is now on the flanks of the Samson Y, but they did manage to get the reloads in. The massive advantage that the 45th N had just a second ago is no more, and Gas is going in aggressively. He's forming to his left and right, and Marsman is just going for the charge. We have to look closely. Alright, melee is broken. No fire in the charge there, and it's 21v21. The lines are even. The right flank of the 45th N is on the back foot, as the UK on their right side is pulling back. The 45th N is having a strong center and is picking away the Samson Y members. Samson Y really should be careful because somebody is pushing into the backs, and the red now represents the kills being made from the 45th N upon the Samson Y. It's still
even.
Still even
So close.
There's 45th M members in the back, and the melee is still very much open. It can go either way. Kills are being made left and right, but I think the balance is now slowly starting to push into the favor of the 45th N. But players such as Ricky Maru and others are still alive that can make a lot of impact onto this outcome of this round. It's now 10v10. 2 members going down. Sadly, among them is Kex. But again, 2 kills are being made by the 7-7Y as well. Oh, backstep on Gas. Taken down by Nicole. And it seems like this round is going to go towards the 45th end. What was that? A fucking close melee, man. Holy fucking shit. Really, again, it came down to people such as Lone Dutch Low and Nedim to carry the round through, you know. Get them kills in on the 7-7Y because this was very fucking close. Same on the 7-7Y. Just players such as Ricky Maru and So National made such a big impact on the match. As Gas, or as Nicole jokingly says, Gas behind you.
After landing a backstab on him.
After landing a backstab. Because we all know Gas can't be killed when being attacked from the front, as he has 99 plus block defense capability. As a joke, of course. But well played from Nicole, you know. You got to play into the strength of what's going on at the moment. If you have a chance for a backstab, go for it. Immediately take that chance. 45th end now going onto reverse, onto Mitchell as the 7-7Y is leaving their ridge of safety and moving in as Crambit is get taken down by Sticky. Nadam taking down Cax. Oof, not good. Ooh, and
A
Avian,
third one.
a third one there. Good volley there from the 45th end, who will easily get the reloads in now. Gas is moving in aggressively, trying to see if he can perhaps, you know, get a few retaliation kills in, but it's gonna be hard. 45th end has the reloads in and immediately moving away. So Gas needs to be careful not wasting too many shots. As the reloads of on the back of the 7-7Y are now being finished, they are ready to move out. The score is indeed still 3-3, so it's so fucking close. It really shows how much, you know, the difference in type of leadership can make a huge outcome or a huge difference in outcome of the match itself. 45th end is going to ditch out a massive volley as they are already stationary, claiming a lot of kills there, 4 kills by firing an entire volley, but the 7-7Y is now forming up and is retaliating with almost even amount of kills, even getting the upper hand in the amount of shooting kills they're making. But Marsman is now in a good position where he can still see the 7-7Y and ditch out a volley against them. But the 7-7Y was formed up before the 45th end, are just having the reloads, and man, the accuracy of the 7-7Y is just fucking insane. As the 45th end members are being dropped left and right, they have no chance of fixing.
+5 advantage now, just due to that
Yeah,
impressive volley.
they're not getting the chance to finish their reloads. The 45th end members, who are in a really good position over here, are just getting picked left and right, whilst the 7-7Y are not really getting picked themselves. Marsman is getting a retaliation kill, Wolf is getting a good kill in back, but it really is just the advantage is now completely into the hands of the 7-7Y. As the 45th end is now brought it back by a few, but just again, the 45th end is on the back foot during this round now. Good fucking volley there from the 7-7Y, it's insane. As Gas is now moving, the 7-7Y members are forming the line and are ditching out another volley. And getting, again, more kills than the 45th end is even capable of doing. The 45th end is just now melee charging it because there's no other option, seeing how accurate the 7-7Y is in shooting. The melee is now ensuing, but it's a 2-to-1 advantage that the 7-7Y is enjoying at this moment. And it's going to be almost impossible for the 45th end to bring this back in the melee. As
couple of picks for the 45th end, but
yeah, a couple of good picks here. Like, again, it's still in the open. Gas switches to sword, but then dies instantly because, you know, don't switch your weapon in front of the enemy, Gas. Silly goose. It's now 10-4.
45th end bringing it back, but still outnumbered by a massive amount.
Yeah, still heavily outnumbered. Now outnumbered 3-1. As the 45th M members over here are trying to make the last stand, as the 7-7Y is still putting pressure on them. But it's just really hard to make a good play as Marsman chambers there and kills Sink and makes another chamber. He's just getting surrounded and killed here now by the 7-7Y members. S-Hype is now alone, facing the odds of the 7-7Y. 9-1 and sadly loses that one as well. It's now 4-3 in the advantage of the 7-7Y. And really can only be described as an insanely close match. That volley of the 7-7Y there at the latter round was just insane. Like, just hitting every single shot they fired. It's just humongous how they managed to do that. As the 7-7Y and the 45th end are moving into what almost is every round the same position on each side. And a quick volley is being fired from the 7-7Y, but to no avail. The round is slowly reaching a stalemate. But what does the 45th N have to do to beat the 7-7Y at this moment? When the 7-7Y shooting is so dominant throughout this entire European Infantry Cup match. And that's really what they need. They just need that advantage before going into melee. Then, enough of, average players or even above average players can make then a huge difference. As long as they have that advantage and not being pressured too often, they'll be well competent enough to kill him. And you throw in the mix of those normal players, you throw some really veteran, strong group fighting warriors. Well, then there you go. That will give him a use advantage. As Alpha and S-Hype are claiming some kills here on the 7-7Y, the 45th N has a really good position, but really the 7-7Y is just moving in. The first half of the 45th N wasted their shots now by claiming only 2 kills, but they are reloaded now. 45th N has quite a few clumps here. As a Ripple Reformation is going onto gas and the shots are being now fired, the 7-7Y and the 45th N are now both forming the line and starting to ditch out a volley at each other. But the 7-7Y is just waiting patiently for the 45th N to form up and destroy him in the shooting. This really is a dominant performance from the 7-7Y in terms of shooting. They're not taking any chances here. Filling the gaps both perfectly fine. Oh man, this is not looking too good for the 45th N.
They're going for a melee charge again, but
And melee has broke. Melee has broke. But again, this is, and Marsman claiming again fire in the charge, but there is no fire in the charge. You need to actually make melee contact. I have it on recording as well. You need to actually break the line before there is any, talk about fire in the charge. I'll call it out.
again, melee contact not established.
Yeah.
So when they come in like that and just clump, they're just gonna get decimated.
Yeah, they do, but it really was unfortunate, 45th N should have just waited, gotten all of their reloads in, and then started moving out, because now Marsman lined up his line completely stationary in front of the 7-7Y, who were also forming up, but the advantage that the 7-7Y was enjoying was the fact that they had all of their shots at the front. And, 45th N didn't have the first 4 or 5 shots. They were halfway through finishing the reload, which would have been fine if the 7-7Y wasn't that close, but they were. And they just started ditching out a punishment as the 45th N and the 7-7Y were both forming up. They could just easily shoot down the 45th N people who were coming in one at a time. Brilliant shot there from Opium, taking down Achilles, which is a really strong melee player that the 45th N will need in a melee. You could tell that the 45th N is perhaps getting a little bit impatient here, trying to pursue a more active stance of chasing the 7-7Y and getting them into melee. As the 45th N is now forming and taking shots into the back of the 7-7Y, the 7-7Y now has the angle onto the 45th N, and the amount of clumps that the 45th N has immediately results in several casualties on their side. 45th N now claiming several kills as well, but the 7-7Y is forming up, and the 45th N again breaks the reloads, retreats behind the ridge, and Gaz, he smells the blood, man. He's just going in, moving in for a kill, and he's gonna do it. He's just gonna form his line where he's in pretty much a decent cover where his line can see him, but a devastating volley from the 45th N is being ditched out to the 7-7Y, giving them a fair punishment there for the fact that, they were already stationary and Gaz was forming up. Only one kill being made in, only one kill being made in return by High Lord, and the 45th N is now enjoying a huge number advantage, with almost with being 9 players ahead. Bit of a misjudgment perhaps there from Gas, being a little bit too enthusiastic. Now the 45th N is moving in and are forming up now as the 7-7Y is going to ditch out a volley. and gonna do their best, but all of those muskets are loaded, so the 45th N members can just pick those muskets up. But there will be no need as the 77Y is breaking for melee, and it's just a slaughter on the 77Y side. They had no other choice than to charge. It was the position Marksman in was several rounds before as well, as the last few remaining players of the 77Y are being finished off here. Spooky making his last stand against the hordes of the 45th N. But what a good performance there from the 45th N, hitting all of their shots in that one volley, and then just forcing the 77Y onto the back foot. And now it is...
I suggest it's 5-4 now. Like, if 45th N bring it back, do we not need to do the 2v2? Or
Yeah.
It goes to... I don't think this has happened before yet. Like, it goes to the sudden death thing, so...
Yeah.
Just again, showing how close this match actually is.
Yeah, definitely. But it doesn't actually reach the sudden death, right? This is still group stage, so it will just... It will either be a draw or a win for the 77Y at this point. Considering its group stages, a 5-5 is just a draw. Because I believe some other... Has it happened to any other regiments so far in the league?
No, this would be the first if it goes 5-5.
Yeah. No, it could go either way. In best case scenario for the 45th N, they can grab the 1 point, but Pehotniy is going down by Fortune Zero, who fires a brilliant shot down the 45th N line. Marksman is now on the even playing field of the 77Y, 29v29. But Gaz immediately moving out as well, and 45th N immediately goes on top of the hill and start ditching out a few shots into the ranks of the 77Y. Drax goes down and several other hits are being made, but the 77Y are now forming up their own line and immediately advancing up towards the hill. But Gaz really should be careful because 45th N was quite far with, getting their reloads in. And they're immediately moving out. Again, Gaz playing really aggressively into the hands of the 45th N. This could be devastating if they overdo it. And Marksman is playing brilliantly. He does it. He goes for the melee, but it needs to be careful. 77Y has formed the line. And line is broken. Now melee ensues.
Melee's now.
There was no fire in the charge there. 77Y, the score resembles for the 77Y in green and for the 45th N in red. So it really is an even melee as it starts off. Kills are being made on both sides here. 45th N who are playing on the French side are all clumping on one flank of the 77Y, trying to make the kills happen. Scarum goes down and Bob goes down. It's still at 21v21 with a few members of the 45th N in the backs of the 77Y. 77Y is trying to consolidate and now make a push through them, but there's so many people in the backs of the 77Y, which makes them really play in an uncomfortable field. And a lot of kills are being ditched out by the 45th N onto the 77Y. And the melee ensues, and this really is going into the favor of the 45th N, who are now just completely breaking the formation of the 77Y. And there's no coming back from this anymore. It's done. It's over. It's a 5-5. Well fucking played from both regiments. A draw. The first one in the European Infantry Cup League that we have seen so far. Which is just astounding, really, and it shows how close these type of matches can be when you have such high attendance in terms of regiments, but also when the skill level in terms of leading and melee was so equal to each other, I have to say. But I think, if I'm being honest, you need a draw was the best thing that could have happened for the 77Y against the 45th N, due to the fact that the 45th N definitely was enjoying a superiority in terms of melee. What do you think?
I mean, I think both regiments will actually be happy with the result at 5-all. Like, and some draws you think, oh, we threw a couple around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cost is the one, but really both regiments just the luck of the shooting just shifted the balance in the melee, and because they are so equally matched, that decided who won, really.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. This really, both regiments can be really happy with their final score, which is a 5-5. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a draw that we have between the 77Y and the 45th N. It's the first one of this season, and, you don't see that too often, but it really just shows how close this match was. GG and well played to both regiments. This is me and Uni signing off, and we'll hope to see each other in the next one.